Okay, then Act 2, Scene 8, the hospital wing. This is like Albus lying in bed, Harry's by his side, and then it's quiet and it's like really dark again in the second half of the stage, like the back part. But then this light comes on and suddenly you see like Albus like walking towards his painting, really casual, like you're like, Albus. And he looked like the sorry guy who plays like the Albus in all of the other movies except the first, but he looked like the real, oh, I say Albus, but like Dumbledore, of course, not, it's confusing if I call him Albus. Dumbledore, like he looked like the real Dumbledore, like the ones you picture in your mind, and the one from the first book, movie, I mean, and like the one, yeah, the real Albus, because the one, Dumbledore, sorry, the real Dumbledore, because the one in the movies, like afterwards, he's so angry, and like he was brilliant, but it's such a different character from what J.K. Rowling wrote, and I never really liked that. But anyway, Albus is, it's because I keep saying Albus for like Albus, son of Harry, but Dumbledore was there, and you were like, you kind of felt like relief, like, oh, he's gonna fix everything, because that's what he used to do. Like, not even really, but you kind of always, like in the books and even in the movies, it's kind of like, oh, Dumbledore's here, everything's gonna be alright, he's gonna fix everything. And even here on the play, like when he was just a painting, you could kind of tell that Harry probably felt that too, which is probably why he took his advice so much to heart, but twisted it in his mind and was like, oh, he can't be friends with Scorpius anymore. And it seems really harsh, but he was really just extremely worried about his son. Still, Scorpius being evil, can you imagine? Anyway. Also the part when Dumbledore says, like Harry asks, how do I protect my son, Dumbledore? And he says, you ask me, of all people, how to protect a boy in terrible danger. He said it kind of like that, like, really, Harry? Because it's such a good job of that. And like everyone was laughing, it was really funny. And then when Albus, like young Albus, wakes up, you kind of get like Harry's really frustrated and kind of like angry, but also really relieved to have his son back. So he kind of tries at the beginning, and then he's like, did Scorpius put you up to this? Like, whatever you did, because clearly his darling boy could never do that. And he's like, Scorpius, no. But then you could kind of like, Harry became kind of like angrier and a bit more frustrated. You could really see it, like really his stubborn side, like, you know what, you can't speak to that boy again because he's the dark cloud hanging over you and you're in danger, and I think it's that boy, so stay away from him. So yeah, of course, again, they get into a fight. And then when Harry's like, don't be silly, you know which like house you're in. I didn't really figure that something could have gone different yet. But then eventually it's like, especially like when you see Ron and he's like, you're in Gryffindor, it's like, oh, of course, things have changed because they changed time. And it was kind of a shock to see Ron. He looked so pathetic. And I loved the fact that he was like so sarcastic and like didn't even hide the fact that he thought his own son was terrible, and that he was, you know, that his wife just like bosses him around. He's like, yeah, my wife told me I had to go here. It's like such a different character than before. Like really nervous and kind of like wuss and not funny. I especially loved the bit like, a joke shop, well now. Anyway, I'm pleased I caught you. I was gonna bring some sweets for sort of get well soon. But actually Padma, she thinks about things a lot more deeply than I do, and she thought it would be nicer for you to get something useful for school. So we got you and then he kind of like grasped a set of quills, and then yes, 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 look at these bad boys. Kind of like trying to sell them, even though it's such a lame gift. But especially for Ron. But yeah. And then Albus is really confused, and you're like, oh my god, what else did he mess up? And then like at the end of Act 2, Scene 9, you have Albus saying, just we'll be better off without each other, okay? Which kind of surprises me. Like, why would he... I guess he was happy being in Gryffindor, maybe thinking that everything would have changed. I'm not sure, but why would he actually listen to his dad and be like, actually, Scorpius, we can't see each other anymore? It would make more sense for them to be like, okay, we need to go back and fix this. But anyway, the part when it's like Scorpius is left looking up at him, heartbroken. You could actually feel that. It was so sad. Oh, it was actually heartbreaking. And then the next scene when Harry threatens McGonagall, you could feel like everyone in the room going, Harry, you're being such an asshole. What are you doing? You're ruining everything. This isn't you. How could you do that to McGonagall? And it's also kind of weird because she was always this, you know, figure of authority, and they were kind of like scared of her, and she, you know, she made up the rules. She was in charge, and suddenly these kids from the movies and the books are all grown up, and they're actually in charge because they're much higher up. And yeah, and also the part when was it here? Yeah, when he was like, with the greatest respect, Minerva, you don't have children. That was like a blow. Like, that was so sad because I'm not sure she ever wanted to have kids. Like, maybe, but like she has like hundreds of kids. Like, all the kids at school, she takes care of them in a way, and she's kind of like, all the teachers are kind of like sort of a parent because they have to be, because there aren't actually any parents at school. And she says that as well. But that was just like, oh, Harry, no. You're ruining everything. You're being such an asshole right now. But yeah. Act 2, Scene 11, where Hermione is a teacher. And you would actually think that maybe she would be a great teacher. But I guess she's just really bitter, because kind of makes sense. Because they probably grew apart as friends. You kind of get that idea that they kind of grew apart. Harry is sort of successful, but, you know, Ron isn't, and she's a teacher and she had so much potential. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a teacher, but it's probably not what she imagined doing. And also, she doesn't have Ron, and I think that the fact that she must have loved Ron without realizing it and losing him made her a really bitter person. And it was both really weird and hilarious at the same time, the way she was like that. Albus was like, but you're my aunt and you're pretty cool, basically. We snuck earlier, remember? No, he didn't say that. And that she's just like this really angry, frustrated teacher. I kind of like that. And it was also really sad when he was like, you know, your daughter Rose and then you or Ron are supposed to be married. And she's like, how dare you? Like, the way she said that, it was like, you could tell she was really hurt, because that's probably what she's thinking as well. Like, I wish I had married him. Like, maybe she doesn't even really realize, but she probably knows. And yeah, to have pupils say that to your face in the middle of class, I get that she was a bit angry at that. Okay, then Act 2, Scene 12 must seem a bit weird when you read it, but it was kind of like, they built these 2 staircases. They were pretty high up, actually. And Albus was on one of them, Scorpius was on the other, and a few students were kind of like swirling them around. So it's kind of like chairs. The stairs were doing a dance, and you could tell that, like, you know, Albus would walk up one, and then Scorpius would see him, but the students turned the staircase away again. So it's kind of like the turn-in staircases, and they never really found each other. Like, you could tell Scorpius was trying to get to him, Albus was trying to get away from Scorpius, or didn't see him, and it was kind of like this really desperate dance of be friends again, find each other, like, especially for Scorpius. And it was just really sad because you could tell Albus didn't like it at all either. And it was actually really well done. And then you have Act 2, Scene 13, where Draco comes in and like break all of our hearts, saying that his son is in tears. And he's just like, he's this real dad. He's like, my son is crying and I'm gonna make it better for him, damn it. So you're gonna listen and you're gonna make our 2 sons friends again, even if I don't like it and you don't like it. And then Harry, tactful son, tactful guy that he is, he asks if the rumors are true and if Scorpius is the son of Voldemort. Which, of course, Draco doesn't like, and they start fighting, which was awesome, by the way, because it was like, it seems really short in the script, but it was pretty long, and like, they were actually firing spells at each other. Oh, I think my camera's gonna stop again. One sec. Apparently, you can only film 25 minutes, which means this video is now, I've been filming for 15 minutes already. Oops. Hopefully I can edit it down. But anyway, Draco is like, how dare you, and they start to fight, and at first you're like, what's happening? Like, chairs were flying, Draco's like doing a somersault in the air, and they were like jumping up on the table like it was nothing, and flying in the air and like doing all these stunts, and then they actually started firing spells at each other, which looked so cool. And then like eventually the light hit it just this way that you could see that it was actually guys in like complete black leotards or whatever, like grabbing them and helping them spin and everything. But even so, that was awesome and so well done that they actually managed to do all that. Like, it was great. And then when Ginny came in and she was like, I left you for 5 minutes, it was hilarious because it was like really suspenseful, really, you know, dramatic. And then she came in and like kind of like the angry mom, like, kids, please. And that was pretty cool. And then you have Scorpius kind of like slouching, like really unhappy, walking down staircase. And I think he kind of like sits down, like, oh, what's the point of life? And then Delphi is suddenly there. And she's like, wow, this place is awesome. And then she reveals that she never went to Hogwarts, that she was too ill as a child. And that kind of made me think like I don't know, I mostly bought it, but I think there was a part of me that like the tiniest bit of doubt. But mostly I just felt really sad. You know, imagine if you're a wizard, like in this awesome world, and everyone's talking about Hogwarts and everyone's going to Hogwarts, and like the rest of your entire life, anyone you meet, because you'll just be meeting wizards and witches mostly, will be talking about their time at Hogwarts, and you're the one who missed out. So felt really sad for her. And then when she talks about never having had a friend, I really wanted one. Like, even when you know that she was evil, you can kind of like later on and you think back about this, or especially like reading it now, and like she can't really help who she is, and there was probably some truth in this. Like, I can imagine that even though she was like, oh, I'm evil and so much better than everyone, and like focused on resurrecting her dad or whatever, you can imagine her also sometimes sitting in a room all alone thinking like, oh god, I wish I had a friend, or I wish I could go to Hogwarts like a normal kid. She must have thought that a lot. So that kind of makes this more sad in a way. Even though like she wasn't even ill, so she could have gone, but she had to stay secret, so she didn't go. And that's kind of heartbreaking. Act 2, scene 15, when Draco and Harry are sitting like really grumpy, like crossed arms, not looking at each other at the kitchen, and Ginny's just kind of like, oh. And then when Dirk's like, sorry about your kitchen, Ginny. That was kind of funny. Just the way he delivered it. Because you kind of like imagine like the entire kitchen being ruined. You didn't really see, you could only see table and 2 chairs, but still like your imagination filled it in. And then when Draco thinks, like, I always envied you, like your friends, that kind of like makes you think as well, like back to, like they say, he had Grab and Goyle. I mean, come on. Like, it's better than nothing, but they were his lackeys, they weren't his friends, and he didn't really have friends. And then to have the Harry and see him with his friends, like having fun and having adventures, and okay, almost dying a lot, but still. And all that warmth and love, and he's like all alone. And especially since he could have been friends with Harry, like he actually tried to be friends with Harry, like in a completely wrong way. So it's like, go Harry for not being his friend, kind of. But it's also a bit sad. You can almost imagine like if he was in Gryffindor, Draco, that maybe he would have turned out a bit better. I don't know, but yeah. Or if he just had Slytherin friends, it's kind of sad. And then when Ginny says like, I always envied your friendship as well, you kind of think like, yeah, whenever you heard about her hanging out with people, it was either like Harry, Ron and Hermione, or some boy that she was dating, but you kind of never heard about her having girlfriends or boy friends who are boys. And yeah, so that was kind of like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And like Harry's really surprised by it as well. Apparently he never talked about this, but yeah, that was kind of like a nice moment. And I also really love the fact that both Ginny and Draco are like, or that Draco understands Ginny enough to know that she probably feels the same way, that they understand where Voldemort came from. The fact that he never really had friends either, didn't have a loving family. Like, of course Ginny had a really loving family, but she was the only girl and the youngest, so she was always the odd one out. So yeah, I kind of, that really made you think, like they were like, actually I can see where he was, like how he turned out that way. Like, of course they don't condone what he did and they would never turn into him, but they do know what it's like to be completely alone, and that was really sad. And then the part when, you know, Scorpius is kind of like the voice of reason, like, we mess everything up, we really shouldn't go back. Listen to him. And then I was like, well, I wasn't a loser before I met you. That was like so sad. Poor Scorpius. He's such a darling. And yeah, but clearly Albus didn't mean it and Scorpius knew that. I'm glad that he's like kind of like the voice of reason, that they don't have fights like Ron and Harry would have had fights and did have fights. But yeah, that was really sad. And then I also loved the bit where Scorpius was kind of like it actually says exploding, and he was like, try my life. Like, people think I'm the son of Voldemort, my mom's dead, we're in a different reality and she's still dead. And I also really liked the fact that Albus immediately was like, you're right, I'm so sorry, and we should talk about your mom more, and I should have realized that you were going through this. And he didn't. Like, he's quicker to apologize than his dad was. And I kind of like that, this bonding moment between two friends. Also, the fact when McGonagall came in, they like Albus took out his cloak and they hid, and then the chairs actually started moving. That was really cool, without anyone like obviously moving it. And she was like, well, if I didn't see ya, I didn't see ya. I really like that. Go McGonagall. And then when Ron and Hermione meet each other like on the staircase, and they have this moment of what could have been, what actually might have happened if you trust what Albus says. I wonder if none of them think like maybe he changed things going back into the past, and maybe he's right. Apparently not. But yeah, that was heartbreaking, them looking at each other. Like, clearly both of them have feelings for each other, but Ron's married and too much time has passed probably, and it was just really sad. Mona and Myrtle, she was so cool. So they went to the bathroom and it was kind of like the same as in the movie, like it was round with a bit in the middle, and from that bit in the middle came Mona and Myrtle, and she actually like kind of did aerobatics, kind of like in that middle, like moving around, kind of like she was a ghost who could float, but she wasn't actually floating, I think not. But it was funny, she was really Molly Myrtle, like so much that I actually looked up in the program book if it was the woman who originally played her, because she's, you know, one of those people who never age. So it could have been her, it wasn't, but it was just some other actors who did it really well, because it was really like the Molly Myrtle in the movies, and that was just funny. And I like the fact that, like, that when Albus came in, went in, and then she was like, I always liked a brave boy. That Scorpius was actually like, well then I'll be brave. That's so cute. Okay, so Act 2 Scene 20, we're almost at the end of the first part of the play. That was so cool, because you were like, how are they gonna do this? But there was this screen that kind of went on stage, and then there was this round hole, kind of like you were looking out of a submarine or something, and it was kind of like distortioned, and then you saw Scorpius and Albus, and they were like floating, and it actually looked like they were swimming. Like, it looked so much like they were swimming. So I guess they were there like on ropes or something, and they probably like some wind to make sure that the hair kind of like blew, but it looked so much like they were actually swimming. And I didn't see Cedric, so either, like they described, like Cedric comes in and like he engorged and everything. I didn't see that, so either you couldn't see it from where I was sitting, or it was just supposed to be in your imagination. Maybe they thought when they wrote the script, like, we're actually gonna put it in there. But you just saw Albus and Scorpius, but it was so cool. And then when Scorpius came out of the lake, it was actually this bit opening up in front of the stage, and it was actual water in there, and he climbed out of it like actually dripping wet, which now makes sense, because when I tried to get more tickets to go again, it said that the first few rows were splash zone and you could get a bit wet. If you haven't read the play or anything, you must think, what? I doubt anyone got wet, by the way, but that was really cool. The fact that it was actual water and that poor guy who plays Scorpius had to go in there quite a lot. And then when he comes out and can't... Oh, I thought it stopped recording. I can't find Elvis. It's like, oh dear Lord, no. Because when they went back in time a second time, you were already like, don't do this. You idiots. You're gonna ruin everything. So yeah, so Elvis isn't there. And you're like, oh no. Oh no, 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 no. And then Dolores is there. And you're like, oh no, 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 no. And that was also really cool because she really looked and acted like Dolores Umbridge. Like in the movies. And yeah, that was awesome. And you're like, Scorpius, Albus, what have you done? And Scorpius is obviously thinking the same thing. And Scorpius is like really panicking, like there's this boy in the lake, Albus Potter. And she's like, Potter? There hasn't been a Potter in ages, not since Harry Potter died. And he's like, oh shit, Harry Potter's dead? And yeah. Oh, and then the Dementors came. That was so freaking scary. Like suddenly, like it became darker, and it was such a hot day. Like it was kind of like a heat wave, and it was hot in there. The sun was like shining outside, so everyone was already like melting before they came in. And then it's like this tiny, sort of tiny room where you're in, all crammed together. Not a lot of aircon, so it was, just to say, it was really hot in there. And you just felt this chill, like inside, when these creatures started to fly around, and you didn't see the wires at first. You just saw, it was so, are you kidding me? Like I literally have I'm almost done, like, okay, part 1, admittedly, but still, almost done, and the battery stops, and it was a fully charged battery. Anyway, where was I? The Dementors, they were so freaking scary. Like, you actually felt like there were actual Dementors there. You have no idea how incredibly awesome it was. Like, it was terrifying in a really good way. And you actually felt like you were actually there, you know, in the real Harry Potter world. It was so cool. And then one of them actually came up like really close to the front of our balcony. So especially like the people, we were, I think, in like the 3rd or 4th row. I think 4th, probably. Yeah, 4th row. We were row D. I actually had to count that. That's it's sad. So we were in the 4th row, but like the people in the 1st row, they actually screamed. Because suddenly you didn't, because you know, it was at first, it was lower, like swooping over the people down below, and then suddenly it like came up, like, oh, it was so scary. And then went higher, and it was so well done and so cool. Like, it set such a eerie mood, and it was brilliant. And then you have you have Voldemort's voice, like, Harry Potter, like that, and like chills, my god, chills down your spine, and you're like, no, no, like, this can't be happening. And then Dolores cheerfully says that he's ruining Voldemort Day. And then like you do like hear all these whispers, and like it's really terrifying. And then these banners of like this logo. Wait, I'm gonna show you because I bought a t-shirt. Is this it? Yes, it is. This logo, terrifying, like suddenly came on this banner in the middle of stage, and then also like on the sides, like on the balconies and everything, and like this eerie green light on it, and you could actually feel your heart sink together with Scorpius when he's like, Voldemort Day, like, no, he's, oh, and that's when it ended. And you were like, no! Because we had to wait a few hours for the next part. I was like, no, I can't wait. I need to see it right now. But yeah, so we went downstairs, we bought loads of merchandise. Or did we do that later? No, we bought it then. We bought loads of merchandise. And when we came downstairs, like the people behind the counter actually changed into this shirt. They were before that they were wearing the like the logo shirt of the this one. They were wearing this shirt. So yeah, it was so cool. So we bought some merchandise and then we went out like into London and just like completely dazed because we were in the world of Harry Potter just now and we saw actual Dementors and Voldemort's back. Why isn't everyone freaking out, basically? It was so cool. Like, I'm so glad that we went there. It just, it still blows my mind. That's why I really hope that, you know, they will show it for ages and ages and that will travel the world, kind of like, I think Les Mis is probably like in a lot of places, and like Wicked, I know they have like a Dutch version and they probably have like a German version and everything. I hope this is gonna happen with this play as well, so that everyone gets a chance to see it. But if, you know, I want to make this video for those of you who probably won't ever see it, either because they are idiots and do keep it in London, or maybe you just don't have money for theaters, or you don't have the time, or I don't know. But if you can see it, like if it does go everywhere, and even like knowing what I just said, like not really spoilers, but you kind of know what to expect, like please do see it, save up money, go there, make the time, like even if it's probably gonna be in like 5 years or something. But if you ever get the chance, do see it because it's awesome. So yeah, this is part 1. I have so much to say about part 2 because there were so many emotional and awesome and so many cool bits that just felt like didn't come across as amazing as they were in the actual play in the book. Kind of like the part where Harry's like calling for Albus, that broke my heart, and in the books it's just like you see Albus, Albus. Like it depends on how you hear it in your head, so I really want to tell you guys what it was like experiencing the play. I hope you really like this video. I've been filming for like an hour and a half now, so I hope I can cut it down a bit. I'll make a video about part 2 as soon as I can. Maybe not today, but like as soon as I can. And I hope you'll see that one as well. If you want to be like notified when I get new videos to make sure you don't miss it, please do subscribe. You'll make me really happy. And let me know in the comments, what did you think of the book? Did you see the play? Or like how excited are you to maybe someday see the play now that you heard all this? Just talk to me, let's chat, and I'll see you soon with another video.